wabarakatuh. All praise be to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Lord of the worlds, no one worthy of worship and truth except Allah. And all praise and salutations be upon Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and those who fall to his way up until the end of time. So last week we had a bit of a technical glitch and issue with regards to recording. So this is our third principle amongst the 6 principles of the book that we are doing and going through, which is Usul Sitta of the great Imam Shaykh Muhammad Abdul Wahaab rahimahullah ta'ala. So just a brief overview or review of what we did, not last week but the week before. We spoke about the second principle, which is Ijtima fi Din, holding steadfast to the establishment of the community, sticking to the Jama'ah as Allah subhanahu has commanded us with, وَأَعْتَصِمُوا بِحَبْلِ اللَّهِ جَمِيعًا وَلَا تَفَرَّقُوا. Hold fast to the rope of Allah subhanahu and do not be divided. We have also made mention with regards to numerous ahadith of Imam sallallahu alaihi wasallam indicating and encouraging brotherhood and adhering to the Jama'ah. We made mention of the hadith, the 35th hadith of Imam Nawawi rahimahullah ta'ala, with regards to the embodiment of Islamic brotherhood, whereby the Prophet ﷺ said a Muslim is a brother of his Muslim brother, and he does not forsake him, he does not abandon him, he does not belie him, he does not inflate the prices if he enters a contract with him, and he does not have any rancor or animosity towards him. And Him ﷺ basically his foresight with regards to ensuring safety and security for his Muslim Ummah, and also his concern with regards to any of these particular things or causes of the community being basically disintegrated or eroding. So inshallah we'll go now to the third principle of Shaykh Muhammad Abdul Wahaab rahimahullah ta'ala, which is the third principle, which is as-sama wa ta'a, to hear and obey. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Qala al-Shaykh rahimahullah ta'ala, inna min timam al-ijtima' as-sama wa ta'a liman ta'amara alayna walau kana abdan habashi. The Shaykh rahimahullah ta'ala says, from amongst the perfection and completeness of ijtima', adhering to the community, is sama wa ta'a, to have allegiance, to hear and obey, liman ta'amara alayna wala kana abdan habashi, to give loyalty and allegiance to those that are in authority over us, even if it may be an Ethiopian slave. فَبَيَّنَ اللَّهُ هَذَا بَيَانًا شَافِيًا كَافِيًا بِوُجُوهِ مِنْ أَنْوَاءِ بَيَانًا شَرْعًا وَقَدْرًا. And we see this clause over and over, فَبَيَّنَ اللَّهُ هَذَا بَيَانًا شَافِيًا كَافِيًا. That Shaykh Muhammad Abdul Wahaab uses this clause in his first principle and his second principle as well, giving an indication and an emphasis in the mode and basically the manner in terms of how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala expresses himself, in his clarity, in his clearness, in the guidance of Prophet sallallahu, in the clarity and the clearness, that no one could have any sort of doubt, any misnomer or any kind of misplaced idea. So this is the format in terms of how Shaykh Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahaab expressed his basically clause with regards to how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the Prophet sallallahu has displayed clarity in his speech and the guidance. Min anwa'i bayanan shar'an wa qadran. Now we come back to this principle. Shar'an meaning the legislative guidelines of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's commandments in terms of listening and obeying the rulers, the Prophet's guidelines and guidance with regards to obeying the one in authority, and that is from Shar'an, the legislative means and guidelines. Wa qadran is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's preordainment and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's infinite wisdom and guidance in terms of Allah didn't leave the servants unattended. Imam sallallahu alaihi wasallam didn't leave the servants, upon their own intellect and upon their own guidance. So Qadran is referring to Allah's infinite wisdom in terms of every particular individual needs to be abide or adhere to a particular leader or someone that can guide him. And inshallah, in our journey of this principle, we explain the particular clarification of it as well. ثم صار هذا الأصل. And then again another clause of Shaykh Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahab, when he says ثم صار هذا الأصل, he mentioned this clause in the first principle and the second principle as well. This clause means that if knowledge is not established, and knowledge is not basically widespread, then the opposite of that is present in its place, meaning ignorance. If ignorance is basically rampant and rife, and people are engulfed with ignorance, then knowledge is not basically accessible, and people won't be acquainted with what is right and wrong. So this is what Shaykh Muhammad Abdul Wahab means when he says ثم صار هذا الأصل. He mentions this in third principle, third, second, and first. لا يعرف إن أكثر من يدعي العلم فكيف أمل به. He says, how is it possible for those who assume knowledge, or basically those that acquaint themselves with knowledge, or ascribe themselves to knowledge, that most of them do not know this principle. So if they do not know this principle, how is it possible that they can still act and call to this, meaning as-sam'a wa ta'a? Now we'll go into the clarification of this. This book is not by Shaykh Fawzaan, Hafidhullah Ta'ala. Shaykh Fawzaan, we stated from the inception of our classes that we will be using Shaykh Fawzaan's book. But the clarification of Shaykh Fawzaan is very brief and abridged. So we used another great scholar, Shaykh Abdul Kareem. He passed away sometime last year. So we're using his elaboration on this, which is very, mashallah, very in detail. So inshallah we'll go through the book of Shaykh Abdul Kareem, and he says, Al-ta'a diddu ma'siyah. Ta'a is the opposite. The opposite of ta'a, obedience, is disobedience. And what is al-ma'siyah? It is adam al-istijaba, or mukhalafa. It is not being receptive towards the truth, mukhalafa, in opposition towards the truth, and obstinance, al-muhada, or mu'anada. He says, وَعَدَ الْأَصْلِ الَّذِي ذَكَرَ الشَّيْخ رحمه الله تعالى السَّمْعُ وَالطَّاعَةُ وَعَدَمُ الْمُفَارَقَةِ الْجَمَاعَةِ وَهُوَ لِلْإِمَامِ الَّذِي تَأْمُرُ عَلَى الْمُسْلِمِينَ. السَّمْعُ وَالطَّاعَةُ, allegiance in terms of listening and obeying the ruler, refers to mufaraq al-jama'a, adam al-mufaraq al-jama'a, to not separate and remove yourself from having allegiance to that ruler. And this is with regards to what he has commanded you with, when the ruler commands you with something. And he brings his proof from the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu ati'u Allah wa ati'u Rasul wa uli amri minkum. Oh, you believe, obey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, obey his messenger, and wa uli amri minkum, those who are in authority. A beautiful benefit of this is Ibn Qayyim rahimahullah ta'ala said, wa uli amri minkum, the mere fact that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has mentioned this and adjoined this with his obedience. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala basically encapsulated this with his obedience and with the obedience of his particular messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So this gives the indication of the severity of the matter. And here the Shaykh says, وَأُولِي أَمْرِ هَؤُلَاء, meaning umul ulama wal umara, the scholars and the leaders, those in governance and those who are in superiority. So the ulama alayhim bayan al-ahkam fi ibadatillah. The ulama are those who clarify the legislation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Wal umara alayhim tanfidhu ahkam fi ibadatillah. The umara, the leaders and the governors, what they do is they basically institutionalize and facilitate the rules and the regulations for the servants of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And here the Shaykh says, وَذَكَرَ ذَلِكَ الْإِمَامُ مُتَشَهِدًا بِقَوْلٍ وَلَوْ كَانَ عَبْدًا حَبَشِيًا وَلِذَلِكَ لِلْفِقْهِ رَحِمَهُ اللَّهُ تَعَالَى. This also sheds some light on the intelligence and the comprehension of Shaykh Muhammad Abdul Wahab, وَإِمْتِثَالُهُ وَمُتَابَتُهُ لِلْمُصْطَفَى صلى الله عليه وسلم. His adherence, his emulation, and his guidance of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. حيث كان رسول صلى الله عليه وسلم حريصا, Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam's diligence على عدم منازعتنا, with regards to refraining from removing your allegiance from that لولاة أمورنا واختلافنا, with regards to the leaders that have authority over you and not having any disputes with regards to obeying them. And we'll mention a hadith of Abdullah ibn Umar radiallahu anhu, أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم أنه قال علي المرء المسلم السمع والطاعة فيما أحب وكره. Upon a Muslim is to sam'a wa ta'ah, to hear and obey, having allegiance to the leader, or those in authority, فيما أحب وكره, that which he loves and that which he dislikes. إلا أن يؤمر بالمعصية, except if the leader or governor, admonishes you or guides you towards sin, then فلا سمع ولا طاعة, then there's no listening and obeying the leader with regards to that. And then he says, وعلى آكل البصير أن يمثل ما أمر به النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم من السمع والطاعة وعدم منازعة الأمر لأهله. And upon the one who's intelligent and has basira, insight, and you mathil ma amara bihi, that he emulates and he basically follows the guidance of the Prophet ﷺ with regards to that, elevating his words, min as-sam'a wa ta'ah, and refraining from disobedience of the governor or those in superiority. We go to the second hadith. في رواية قال عبادة بن صامت, he says, بايعنا رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم السمع والطاعة في أسر ويسر, that we gave a pledge of allegiance to Him صلى الله عليه وسلم على السمع والطاعة, to hear and obey the ruler, في أسر ويسر, in the times of prosperity and in the time of adversity, ومنشأة ومكره, in the times of goodness and in the times of dislike, that which they detest, وعلى أثرة علينا, even if the governor usurps our rights. على أثرة means favoritism, meaning he takes all the wealth, he distributes it to those who are, under his basically allegiance, and not to the distribution of the common folk of people. Prophet said that this will occur, and they gave bay'ah upon that. وعلى أثرة علينا وعلى ألا ننازع أمر أهله, and that we do not basically remove our allegiance from those people that have authority over us. إلا أن ترى كفرا بواحا, except that we see clear-cut kufr, manifest, publicized kufr bawahan, إن تكن من الله تعالى فيه burhan, except that we see a decisive, clear kufr that's manifest and announced, guidance from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, وعلى أن نقول بالحق, and that we are commanded to say the truth, أينما كنا, wherever we are, irrespective of where we are, ألا نخاف في الله لومة لائم, that we do not fear anyone or any reproach of anyone for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, irrespective of where we are. So, Qala ibn Battal, and this is a great hadith scholar that gives his elaboration on this hadith, and inshallah we'll mention other statements of the scholars with regards to ijma, that all the imams of hadith, all the imams of the madhab are in agreement that we listen and obey the ruler, and we do not revolt and rebel against him. Especially if he mistreats us and is evil, we still give allegiance with regards to upholding the commandments of the Prophet ﷺ. قال ابن بطال رحمه الله تعالى في حديث حجة في ترك الخروج على السلطان ولو جاء. This hadith is a proof and establishment on those, basically on those who advocate revolt. حجة على ترك الخروج على السلطان ولو جاء, that we do not revolt against the leader. وقد أجمع الفقهاء على وجوب طاعة السلطان متغلبة والجهاد معه أن طاعته خير من الخروج عليه. He said the ulama, the fuqaha, have agreed with regards to the incumbency of obeying the ruler, even if he's oppressive, even if he is a ruler that took the position and came into position by power. وَجِعَالْ مَعُهُ, that jihad is obligatory with him. وَأَنْ طَاعَتَهُ خَيْرٌ مِنْ خُرُوجِ عَلَيْهِ, that your obedience to him, this oppressive ruler, is better than you basically revolting against him. لِمَا فِي ذَلِكَ مِنْ حِكْمِ الدِّمَاءِ, as long as there is no bloodshed, withholding from bloodshed, وَتَسْكِينَ دَحْمَاءُ, and abstention from bloodshed, then that is okay in terms of listening and obeying the leader, and being far aloof from that which commands of evil. وحجتهم هذا الخبر, this hadith of Ubadah ibn Samit, وغيره, and other than it, مما يساعده, which reinforces this matter of obeying the ruler. وَلَمْ يُسْتَثْنُوا مِنْ ذَلِكَ إِلَّا إِذَا وَقَعَ فِي السُّلْطَانِ كُفْرٌ صَرِيحًا. Nothing exempts this, there's no exception to the rule, except if the sultan displays clear-cut kufr, فَلَا تَجُوزُ الطَّاعَةُ فِي ذَلِكَ. And in that case, it's not appropriate to obey him, give allegiance to him. بَلْ تَجِبُ مُجَاهَدَتِهِ لِمَا قَدْرَ عَلَيْهِ. And basically, it is incumbent upon you to subdue this person, this ruler, if you have the capability. If you have the capability. And the Shaykh says, وَكُلُّ مُحَاسَبُهُ بِأَمْلِهِ. And everybody has ability in relation to what he has for himself. And the Shaykh continues, he says, وَالْأَصْلُ فِي الْمُؤْمِنِ. The foundation of a believer is مُتَابَةُ الْأَنْبِيَاءِ, that you follow the Anbiya, the prophets and Rusuls that came, في حياتي, in your life, وهو سبيل الفلاح والسعادة. And this is the path of bliss, the path of happiness, and the path of guidance. And he says, وَقَدْ كَانَ كُلُّ وَاحِدٍ مِنْ الْأَنْبِيَاءِ وَالرُّسُلِ يَقُولُ. Every prophet from amongst the prophets and messengers, they say to their people, اعبدوا الله ما لكم من إله غيره. Worship Allah alone, exclusively for Him. ما لكم من إله غيره. You do not have any other deity except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. أفلا تتقون. And then he quotes Nabi Shu'aib alayhi salam statement with regards to these people. قال يا قوم أرأيتم إن كنتم على بينة. He says, "O my people, do you not see that I am upon clarity? Min Rabbi, from my Lord, warazaqani, that He, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, has provided and bestowed upon me sustenance. Minhu rizqan hasanan, beautiful sustenance." And then this is the part where the Shaykh basically derives his methodology of the prophets in terms of calling towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَمَا أُرِيدُ أَنْ أُخَالِفَكُمْ إِلَى مَا أَنْهَاكُمْ عَنْهُ. That I do not basically wish to go against, to oppose that which I prohibit you from doing. I do not wish to oppose that which I prohibit you from doing, meaning I do not wish to be hypocritical. In uridu illa islah. I do not want except goodness and rectification. Mastata, in my capability. Wa ma tawfiqi illa billah. And my grace and my guidance and ability is except from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Alayhi tawakkaltu. My dependence and reliance on Allah. Wa ilayhi unib. And I depend unto Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Here the Shaykh says, Da'watu ila ibadillah. The prophets, the role and the description is only to call to the worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Wa islah ala qadri mastata'. To rectify the people with regards to the worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Wa hadha huwa sabil anbiya. This is the path of prophets and rusuls and prophets and messengers. Wallahu muwafiq. It says, and all guidance and grace is sought from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And here he says the people of takfir, the people that declare and excommunicate people, ahlul tafjir, suicide bombing and stuff like that. He says, وَقَدْ يَقُولُ قَائِلٌ. Perhaps one amongst that people will say, the people ahlul takfir, that declare people disbelievers, وَيَادِ بِاللَّهِ, ahlul tafjir, suicide bombing and all this evil operations of kufr. أَنَّ رَسُولَ صَلَّى اللَّهُ إِسْتَثْنَى فِي مُنَازَةِ الْأَمْرِ أحلو بكو إلا أن ترى كفرا بواحا إنكم من الله تعالى فيه برهان. They say the people that call to takfir, the people that call to suicide bombing, they use this part إلا ترى كفرا بواحا. So they say, oh, the leaders, look at them, they're crooked and corrupt. They have disbelief with them. So they use that and say, this is our proof of what we deduce from this to rebel against the leaders. And obviously that is a blatant lie. And last week we mentioned in our class that a sin, drinking intoxicants, drinking of alcohol, a zina, what is that? Major sins. Are they out of the fold of Islam? They're not out of the fold. The one that abandons salah, right? Is he out of the fold of Islam? But is it a kufr that leads him out of the fold, or is it kufr amali? Who says kufr amali? We say the hadith where the Prophet said, the pact between us and them is as-salah. Right? Whoever leaves off this, then he has disbelief. So from the hallmarks and description of Islam is as-salah. Allah institutionalized that. If you abandon that, then you resemble who? The kuffar. You know what I mean? Because they don't make salah. But that doesn't mean you excommunicated from the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So they use these sorts of things. You know, they say, hey, look at the leader. And we bring the attention to the listeners that there's a still distinction between sins, major sins, and declaring something to be permissible. Right? We don't know the reasons why the rules do what they do. You know what I mean? And to clarify and to debunk this notions of these people of takfir, when Usama bin Zayd came across one of the people in battle, he came across one of the people in battle of the kuffar, and he was on the throes of death. The person was on the throes of death, kafir, and Usama bin Zayd overpowered him. And then the person wanted to take a shahada, and then Usama killed him. And the matter was brought to Allah's Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And this is establishment upon the people of bid'ah and takfir and tafjir. So we see, Prophet asked him, why did you do that? Yeah, why did you do that? He said, Ya Rasulullah, it is only out of like, not like pity, almost like he wanted to ransom himself. He could see that, you know, I was coming for him, and so he said that it was a mere ploy, basically. So the Prophet rebuked him and said, did you open his chest to see that? Did you open his chest to see that? And in that narration, Usama bin Zayd said, how I wish I accepted Islam on this day. He was so distraught with regards to the Prophet and the rebuke against him. These people take these ayat and ahadith out of context. And we clearly say from the scholars, contemporary scholars, and the people of before, there's a clear distinction between sins. They have the demarcated rules and regulations, and you know, with regards to sins, there's different mutafawiyat, there's different degrees and levels of sins in terms of your aggression. Kicking the Quran, that's a sin that's of kufr, you know. Shaykh Wahaab says, if you see someone making sujood on an idol, right, that is kufr, kharish min al-millah, that removes from the pillar of Islam. But these rules and regulations, right, there's a judicial process in terms of judging that person, you know, seeing if all the impediments is met, you know, is this person sane, is he, can he discern what is right and wrong, is he under duress, is he coerced, all these things must be in place in terms of establishing a ruling upon this person. So here, Shaykh Abdul Rahman Wahidin, he comes back, we come back to his statement, says, Naqul lahu, we say to them, people of takfir and foolishness, we say, Alhamdulillah, faqad jalla Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam dhalika. The Prophet has clarified to us what he meant by kufrun bawaha. Dhalika wa bayyanahu bikaw kufrun bawaha. He says, bawahun. Now he explains what this word denotes. Bawahun, dhahirun. It's manifest, it's open, announced. Alladhi yubihu wa yudhiru wa yu'linu bihi wa yud'a ilayh. It is clear, manifest, announced, and is publicized and called towards this way. We say that the rulers, they have sins, yes. You know, rebuke them, you know, as much as you wish. You know, they wrong people, yes. And we don't interlace takfir with amr ba'aruf wa nahy anil munkar. Enjoining the good and forbidding the evil. We enjoy the good. We say that what they do is wrong. You know, that's impermissible. You know, we don't deem that right. But we don't declare the rulers to be disbelievers. Why? Because we fear this. You know, we fear using these ugly slogans and basically derisive names. You know, people call to this way to, upon the guidance of the Prophet, they call what? Madakhila, Madkhaliya, Jamia. Derisive names to hamper the people from the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The Shaykh says, وَكَذَا شَرْطٌ آخر. He says, and we put another stipulation, another requisite. وَهُوَ مَا أَرْشَدُ إِلَيْهِ رَسُولُ صَلَّى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وَسَلَّمَ. And this is the guidance and illustration of the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم, بِعَمَلِ, with regards to his actions. وَهُوَ قُدْرَةٌ عَلَى تَغَيْرِ, his ability to change a particular matter. And we will explain now what kufr bawaha means. He says, فَإِنَّهُ صلى الله عليه وسلم قَدَ بَقَى فِي مَكَّةَ 13 عَامًا. Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم remained in Makkah for 13 years. وَهُوَ يُرَى أَصْنَامٍ تَعْبُدُ مِن دُونِ اللَّهِ. And he saw people that were worshipping idols. For 13 years he remained in Makkah. He saw people worshipping other than Allah, meaning idols. People were engrossed in this. وَلَمْ يُكَسِّرْ وَاحِدًا مِنْهَا. And he himself did not break any of that idols. 13 years in Makkah. Not once did he ever break that idols. Not once did he break that idols. He just left it as is. And we're going to bring the clarification now. لِأَنَّهُ لَا يَسْتَطِيعُ تَغَيُّرَهَا. He himself did not have the ability to change that. That's why when Bilal was persecuted, saying Ahad and Ahad, Ammar dragged in the streets, with his mother. Prophet said, be patient, because he himself, obviously, he could implore Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and beseech Allah for guidance, for help and aid. But this is obviously in the decree of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is all in the decree of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in terms of forbearance and the trials and tests that the Anbiya went through. But the Prophet did not have the ability, he did not have the ability to change anything. The Quraysh outnumbered him, So, the Shaykh says, لا يستطيع تغيرها ولكنه كان بينه ويدعو إلى الله حتى هدى الله ما شاء له هداية. He says, but that didn't stop him, even though his inability to remove the idols or break the idols or anything of that sort, because obviously the Prophet, he grieved seeing other than Allah being worshipped, but he couldn't change that. He didn't have the ability, but that didn't stop him or hamper him from calling to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bestowing guidance and hidayah upon those whom Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wished hidayah to be bestowed on. And himself, that was his call, just calling to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Worship, there's none worthy of worship except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And he continued, he was persistent and consistent on that. لما دخل مكة بعد ذلك ظاهرا عام الفتح وأظهره الله كسرها وأظهر التوحيد وألت كلمة الله جل وعلا. And this is now the clarification of it. He says ثم لما دخل مكة. Then himself entered Makkah بعد ذلك ظافرا. He entered Makkah after the conquest of Fatul Makkah, the battle. He entered victorious, triumph. Allah made him triumph, right? And then Allah caused Islam and Tawheed to be manifest, publicized, right? And Allah caused him to reign. So due to that, the people entered Islam in the droves. Himself have the qudrah, the ability. So what did he do? He dismantled and desecrated the idols, right? And Allah made Tawheed so much so that it reigns supreme with regards to the Tawheed of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So what the Shaykh is trying to say is, the kufr bawahan, clear-cut kufr, was it existing in the time of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Yes. Did he change it? He didn't have the ability. In today's time, how can we change? How can we bring rectification to the rulers? We don't have the ability, And if we do try to change and we try to institutionalize the removal of the governors, what's going to happen? Bloodshed. And that's also another form of prohibition. And this is something that the Prophet prophesied. So when we do that, we again fall into that which he himself has incurred. Right? Then we defy his guidance and then we incur the wrath of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this is a dangerous thing, But the people of insight, they can't comprehend this. And now the Shaykh, he says, Min tamam al-ijtima, khaythu dhakara fi asatani. From the completion of the congregation and hearing to the Muslim body. And we may mention with regards to this, with regards to the second principle, al-ijtima fi deen wa al-tafarruq. Adhering to the main body and staying far aloof from segregation and separation. And the Shaykh says, it is not possible and conceivable that you have steadfastness with the ijtima of assembly or congregation of people except as-sam' wa ta'a, right? And this goes, and he will mention now all the particular facets and rituals of the deen, whereby, like for example, salah. The Shaykh says, لا يقوم الدين الحق إلا بجماعة تعاون على إقامته. There cannot be the establishment of deen except with cooperation for that establishment, right? حيث صلاة جماعة, with regards to congregation prayer, right? It is binding upon you to make salah in jama'ah. All of us here, it's binding upon us. But if one of us have unrest, we have disunity with regards to one another, What's going to happen? You tell me don't make salah behind that guy. I tell that guy don't make salah behind so and so. What is the cause for that? Separation, rupture of brotherhood, and the defiance of the guidance of the Prophet ﷺ. And this is attached to the second principle that we said, holding fast to the Jama'ah and holding fast to the commands of the Prophet ﷺ in terms of the establishment of that. It says, Khaythu Salah Jama'ah wa Jum'ati Jama'ah. The Jum'ah weekly Friday prayer is also in congregation. Wal Idani Jama'ah. The establishment of the two Eids also in congregation. Wa Yadullah Ma'al Jama'ah. The hand of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is upon the Jama'ah. Khaythu la rahbaniyata fil Islam. There's no monasticism. There's no, there's no priesthood in Islam. Right? You can't do, your rituals and the Islamic judges on your own. You need to be in the Jama'ah fil Islam. Fal Islam din Jama'ah wal Ijtima'. That the entire embodiment of Islam with all its rules and regulations is a communal obligation. It's carried out in communal obligation with regards to fasting, zakah, hajj, all of that is with a Jama'ah wal Ijtima'. Ijtima' ala haqq wal hidayah. And the congregation is upon the truth and upon guidance. Wa ta'awanu ala birri wa taqwa. And the Shaykh mentioned the ayah, wa ta'awanu ala birri wa taqwa. We do not cooperate with one another except with righteousness and goodness. Wa la ta'awanu ala ithmi wal udwan. Do not help and assist one another in sin and transgression. Wa taqullah. Fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Inna Allah shadidul iqab. Fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is swift in the reckoning. And here the Shaykh mentions, he says, فقد كيل فقد سلف فقول سلف. And one of the Salaf said, لا دين إلا باجتماع. There's no religion except with Jama'ah. أي لا يقوم الدين الحق ترتفع. There's no deen, truth, ترتفع رعايته إلا بالمؤمنين الصادقين. You cannot have the establishment or the deen to be reigned supreme except with believers that are truthful and truthful in the declaration thereof and the cooperation in trying to attain and establishing that particular Jama'ah. وَقَوْلٌ كَذَلِكَ. And some of the Salaf said, لَا جَمَاعَ إِلَّا بِالْإِمَامَةِ. And there is no Jama'ah except with a ruler or a governor or someone that is in charge of us. أي لا يمكن أن يكون هناك أناس مجتمعون في مكان ما من الأرض. And it's not possible that any other people can congregate in any place without a leader. فضلا عن المؤمنين, especially for the believers. إلا ومن لها رئيس وأمير تأمر به. Except with regards to a leader and a governor that orders us with regards to this. And the other Shaykh says, وَهَذَا أَمْرٌ مُشَاهِدٌ أَقْلًا وَخِسًا. And this, you can see, is witnessed by the intellect. The intellect will dictate to you, and khisyan, perceptory, faculties. And then the Shaykh gives an example, حَتَّى فِي بَهَيْمِ وَالْحَيَوَانَاتِ. He says, even the livestock, or cattle, or animals have this. Cattle and livestock, even they have that. A dog, to look after the dog, he has what? An owner to guide him, to discipline him. For a herd of sheep or anything of that sort, has what? A shepherd, that's what the Prophet said, كُلُّكُمْ رَائِي وَكُلُّكُمْ مَسْئُولٌ عَنْ رَعِيَتِهِ. Everyone is a shepherd, and basically, every man is a shepherd of his house, and the wife is basically the shepherd of the husband's property and the children in their custody. So the Shaykh mentions that even the animals fi bahayim wal hayawanat wa illa kanat hadhihi jama'a fawda. Even with regards to animals, if they don't have someone as a shepherd that guides them, will look after them, what will happen? Fawda, chaos, anarchy. Wa hakamat ala nafsiha. They will bring destruction upon themselves. Bil badai wa halak. And they will basically squander everything and bring destruction upon themselves. And this is in conjunction with the Prophet says, فَعَلَيْكَ بِالْجَمَاعَةِ فَإِنَّمَا يَأْكُلُ الذِّئْبُ الْقَاسِي. Upon you is to be adherent to the Jama'ah. فَإِنَّمَا يَأْكُلُ الذِّئْبُ. Because very the wolf, he sits forth on who? The sheep that is wandered off. And then the Shaykh says, Alhamdulillah, فَإِنَّ طَاعَةَ wali amr min ta'atillah. All praise due to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. فَإِنَّ طَاعَةَ wali, that the obedience and loyalty to the governor or the ruler is from the obedience of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Wa ta'ati Rasul. And he brings this proof for that. And Abi Hurairah radiallahu anhu, qala Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, man ata'ani faqad ata Allah. Whoever obeys me, Imam saying, whoever obeys me has obeyed Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَمَنْ أَصَانِي فَقَدْ أَصَى اللَّهُ. Whoever disobeys me has disobeyed Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَمَنْ أَطَاعَ أَمِيرًا فَقَدْ أَطَاعَنِي. Whoever obeys the ruler, the one in governance, in authority, has obeyed me. وَمَنْ أَصَى أَمِيرًا فَقَدْ أَصَانِي. Whoever disobeys the ruler or governor has disobeyed the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And Ibn Hajar, with regards to Al-Asqalani, he gives his elaboration on the hadith. He says, "For hadith wujub ta'atil wilatul umur." He said, upon you is adherence to the leader in authority. وَهِيَ مُقَيِّرَةٌ بِغَيْرِ أَمْرٍ بِمَعْصِيَةٍ. With a clause on that, which is obedience to the leader in goodness and not in evil, as we mentioned before. And it says, وَالْحِكْمَةُ فِي أَمْرِ الطَّاعَةِ مُحَافَةً عَلَى اتِّفَاقِ الْكَلِمَةِ. The wisdom behind adhering to the leader is the establishment of ittifaq kalima, being upon one particular thing, one establishment, and في افتراق في فساد لما في افتراق من الفساد, and to stay away from segregation and disunity and chaos. And then the Shaykh continues, he says, لا إمامة إلا بالطاعة والمراد من قول الشيخ رحمه الله تعالى شيخ محمد الوهاب السمع والطاعة لمن تأمر علينا ولو كان عبد الحبشي وكان بيانا وقد بين الرسول صلى الله عليه وسلم بيانا شافعا. هذا الأصل أصل من الإسلام ضعف الآن إن كثير ممن يدعي العلم فضلا عن أمة اتباع كل نائق. He says this principle is from the foundation of Al-Islam. Many of the people have ضعف الآن إن كثير ممن يدعي العلم, and this is basically weakened or misunderstood or miscomprehended by those people, fadlan and amati, especially those people that assume knowledge or wish to acquaint themselves with knowledge. Even them, they cannot comprehend this principle. And more so, the common folk, all that they do, the common folk is, they follow anyone that basically proclaims this and says that, and they follow whichever way they are being called to. وما أعظم الإسلام في نظامه وتيسيره للحياة لمن فهموا كما أراد الله سبحانه وتعالى من عباده وكما بين رسول صلى الله عليه وسلم صادقا الأمين وسراج المنير. It says وما أعظم الإسلام في نظامه, and from the most greatest of the symbols of Islam في نظامه وتيسيره, from the rules and regulations and facilitation of ease of one's life, is to comprehend the commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala upon His intent, and understanding and comprehending the commands of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam upon the intent. And this is also the statement of Imam Shafi rahimahullah ta'ala, where he says, that we basically we hear and obey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala upon what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has commanded us with, upon the intent of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we hear and obey the Prophet ﷺ in terms of what he has commanded us with, upon the intent of the Prophet ﷺ. And this is actually what is meant in that regard. And then the last section of the Sheikh's explanation, he says, وَمَا أَعْظَمَ جَرَامَ الْحَوَارِجِ فِي الْإِسْلَامِ حَيْثُ أَسَى اللَّهَ وَرَسُولَهُ وَفَارَقَ كَلِمَةَ الْمُسْلِمِينَ وَرَفَعَ السِّلَاحَ فِي الْهُجُورِ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ. He says, and the greatest enormity and treachery of the Khawarij, the people that call for rebellion and revolt and the overthrow of the rulers and governors in Islam, that they basically have disobeyed Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, disobeyed the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, wa faraku kalimat al-muslimin. Then they have also basically split and cause a differentiation between, the ranks of the Muslimin. And what they did is they raised arms, in the face of the believers, meaning people differed with him with regards to this principle. They caused anarchy, they rebelled against him, and they declared them to be disbelievers, right? And outside the fold of Islam. And now the Shaykh, he quotes the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, كما قال في Rasul ﷺ, describing the Khawarij and the salient features. يَمُرُّكُونَ مِنَ الدِّينِ مُرُّكُ السَّحْمِ مِنَ الرَّمْيَةِ, that they will pass through the religion of Allah subhanallah. They will pass through the religion of the deen of Allah subhanahu مُرُّكُ السَّحْمِ مِنَ الرَّمْيَةِ, like a bow leaving, like an arrow leaving its bow. They'll pass through that. They have no like significance. They have no steadfast in terms of obedience to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They don't comprehend the injunction of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There's no firm stability with him. يَقْتُلُونَ أَحْلَ الْإِسْلَامِ وَيَدَعُونَ أَحْلَ الْأَوْثَانِ, that they, يَقْتُلُونَ أَحْلَ الْإِسْلَامِ, they kill. This is a description of Khawarij. They kill the people of Islam, and they forsake and they leave off the people of Awthan, the people that worship other than Allah, people of kufr and shirk, that people that legislate in the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, their blood is permissible, upon proper judicial process. If they are basically have the description of kufr and that, then they are basically permitted to kill and stuff like that. This is, Prophet said that the Khawarij leave off these people and they kill the Muslims, subhanallah. And he says, Prophet said, La in ana adraktukum, if I were to meet and encounter them, laqtulannahum qatl ad, that I will kill them like laqtulannahum qatl ad, like the people of how Ad and Thamud were killed. They were destroyed, they were brought into ruins, subhanallah. Nasallallahu salam al-afiyah. Allah give us proper rectification and understanding of the intent of Him and to be diligent in terms of implementing His guidance and following His instructions. And the Shaykh says, وَقَدَ صَحَّ النَّبِي صلى الله عليه وسلم أنه قال من حمل علينا سلاح فليس منا, whoever carries against us any weapons or arms, فليس منا, is not from us. And this is also brings us to another clarification with regards to the three people they came to the Prophet ﷺ, and this is from the inception of bid'ah. The inception of bid'ah in the time of the Prophet ﷺ, when they came to Aisha, tell us the guidance of Allah's Messenger. One said, I won't get married. Other one said, what? I'll fast all day and night. Other one said, I'll pray all night. I think one of the scholars, I'm not too sure which of the Tayibah was Sahaba, he says this was the first hallmark of the people of innovation. The Prophet said, whoever turns away from my sunnah is not from me. With regards to them, they introduced that, or they intended to introduce these sorts of things. Allah's Messenger was upon that way, he clarified the deen, they wanted to do something else. And this is what the Shaykh is mentioning. Man hamal alayna silah falaysa minna. Allah's Messenger ordered you with that obedience and loyalty with regards to the rulers and governors. You do something else. You want to legislate something else. You want to make lawful that which Allah and His Messenger has made unlawful. What heresy is this? Who preceded you in this? And this is the erroneous understanding of the Khawarij. And he quotes an ayah from the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, وَمَن يَقْتُلْ مُؤْمِنًا مُتَعَمِّدًا فَجَزَاؤُهُ جَهَنَّمَ خَالِدًا فِيهَا. It says, whoever kills mu'minan muta'ammidan, a believer, muta'ammidan, purposefully and intentfully, فَجَزَاهُ جَهَنَّمَ خَالِدًا فِيهَا. His recompense is Jahannam, and he will abide therein forever. وَغَضِبَ اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وَلَعَنَهُ. Allah's curse and Allah's anger is upon him, and Allah's curse, وَعَدَّ لَهُ عَذَابًا عَظِيمًا, and Allah's prepared for him a great torment, with regards to this killing. And another hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, he said that the world, the earth can perish. The earth can perish is less insignificant than killing a Muslim. Imagine that the world can perish. It can be in ruins and in disarray. The world can perish. Is of less insignificance than killing a Muslim. SubhanAllah. That shows you the sanctity of a Muslim. And another hadith, what did the Prophet ﷺ say with regards to, his khutbatul wida, his farewell, sermon that he gave. He said, the blood of a Muslim, it's so sacred, it's more sacred than the Kaaba. The blood of a Muslim is more sacred than the Kaaba. And this also shows you the foresight of the Prophet in terms of stopping all this anarchy, chaos, rupturing of the brotherhood, and bringing this ummah into disarray, chaos. All his foresight with regards to that. And we'll continue what the Sheikh says. He says, فَمَا أَعْظَمُ مِنْ تَحْدِيدٍ. He says, and what is a greater form of rebuke, right, and threat from the Lord مِنْ رَبِّ الْعَبِيدِ لِمَنْ كَانَ لَهُ قَلْبٌ أَوْ أَلْقَى السَّمْعَ وَهُوَ شَهِيدٌ. For the one who possesses a heart and he gives attentive ear, and he attests to that, to the guidance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Aqul. Here the Sheikh says, and he concludes this, he says, Aqul. ومن تمام الفائدة هنا ما أمرنا بالناسخ الأمين الذي لا يُصَى أمره. He says, with regards to the Prophet ﷺ being a Nasir al-Amin, sincere counselor and advisor, and he who basically upholds the legislation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and he doesn't defy or disobey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وهو أن نصبر على أمراء الظالم والجور حتى نلقاه, that we endure, have forbearance with patience with regards to oppressive ruler and the one who's wicked and evil. He says, إِنَّكُمْ سَتَلْقَوْنَ بَعْدِي أَثْرَةٌ, that you will meet people بَعْدِي after me أَثْرَةً, meaning they will usurp your rights, right? In another hadith, they will beat you backs, you know what I mean? They'll take your wealth, his favoritism. فَاسْبِرُوا حَتَّى تَلْقَوْنِي عَلَى خَوْضٍ. Be patient with them until you meet me at the khawd, till you meet me at the pond. So the Sheikh, he says, with regards to this, Prophet didn't say be patient upon لا يعرف صبر إلا كذلك. Don't be patient upon just goodness, when the ruler is treating you well, there's no things that he's causing in terms of unrest to you. That is fine, you know what I mean? There's no issue there. You obey him, you in conformity with his guidelines, you're in conformity with Prophet's guidelines and stuff like that. But what the Prophet is stressing is upon the one that's evil, the one that is wicked and repulsive. He is the one that you, it says, فَصَبْرَ عَلَى جَوْرِ الْحُكَامِ وَظَلَمَهُمْ خَشْيَةَ الْوُقُوعِ فِيمَا هُوَ أَعْظَمُ أَلَا وَأَنْ نَفْسِكَ الدِّمَاءَ وَالْحَرَامَ وَالْخُوضُ فِي الْفِتْنِ. He says, upon us is to have patience and endure the patience of the governor that is evil and oppressive, and that we fear, falling into, spilling of blood and making lawful the spilling of blood. This is what al-an tastatiru was tasdad yawman ba'da yawm, and that we remain patient, day after day with regards to the commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is the conclusion of the Sheikh's work. I just want to read something of Abu Khadija, Hafidhullah Ta'ala, from Salafi publications. It's a good abridged write-up of them with regards to the subject matter. I'm just going to go through it very quickly. He says, in the time of the Sahaba, there was differences, right? There was difference. Some of the Sahaba rebelled against others. He says, but that differences does not necessitate that we follow them in the error. I repeat again, there were Sahaba that rebelled against one another, but that doesn't necessitate that we follow a certain campaign of the companions. What we are obliged to follow is Qala Allah, Qala Rasul, right? So from that, from amongst the Hasala ma Hasala, the ulama say, what transpired, that's transpired. We don't take camps of Hassan al-Hussein, that is wrong, this is wrong. What we say from that time, what occurred there and what the scholars derive, he says there is ijma with regards to that occurrence after that up until today's time, there's no rebellion. There's loyalty and obedience to the ruler, even if he's repulsive, even if he's oppressive, even if he basically does not fulfill our rights, we hear and obey. And I was just going to read a few of the statements of what Abu Hadijah has put forth. He says, as for rebellion, Imam Nawawi rahimahullah mentioned ijma. What is ijma? Ijma is when all the imams agree on a particular thing. So it's definitive and decisive knowledge. It's like a injunction from the Quran. Ijma is like if everybody come together and say Salah is 5 times a day. That is ijma. If someone comes to you and say, Bika, there's no 5 times Salah a day, there's a 6 or 7th, right? Then we say to him is, we don't follow you. The ijma with Quran and decisive proofs and evidence that indicate that Salah is 5 times in the appointed particular time. So if a ijma is met, you can come with whatever proof. And this is also what we have against the people of shirk and kufr. That people that have introduced novelties and heresies, right, to call upon other than Allah, when they come, they say, no, the Shafi said this. One of Abu Hanifa students, the Hanbali, we say all of that people are susceptible and prone to error. We don't follow you. We don't follow you in error. May Allah forgive them for their sins, for whatever mistakes they made, but we are not obliged to follow you. We follow Qala Allah, Qala Rasul. And we follow the ijma of the companions, we follow the ijma of the tabi'in with regards to worshipping Allah alone and not introducing any novelty. And this goes with bid'ah as well. And we just want to put this to conclude. He says, Imam Nawawi rahimahullah ta'ala cited an ijma consensus concerning this matter. As for rebellion, khuruj against them and fighting them, then this is haram, prohibited by ijma of the Muslimin. Even if the rulers are sinners and oppressors, the ahadith I have already mentioned. This is what I basically mentioned of in this book is more similar to that. He says, and Ahlul Sunnah have agreed ijma, a ruler is not to be removed due to his sin. As for the position in the books of fiqh that some of our colleagues hold, the Shafi'iyah, that he is to be removed, and what is cited from the Mu'tazila, the deviant misguided sect, then the one who says this is wrong, and he is an opposer of the ijma. And the scholars have stated the reason why it is forbidden to remove the ruler, it is prohibited to rebel against him. It is because of the fact that it leads to tribulation, the spilling of blood, discord, and corruption between the people. And the corruption that arises in removing him is greater than remaining in his place. And here he actually makes mention of statements of the people of the Salaf, the scholars, like Shaykh al-Islam Uthman al-Sabuni. These people that I'm going to make mention now of, we take our creed from them. They have elucidated and they have clarified the creed. How Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the descriptive, mannerisms in terms of the guidance of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. How Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is described, in the manner in which He's described, all the tenets of faith, all the facets of faith. These books have documented everything. So our creed is from these books. And you can see the time periods are very close. 200 years after Hijrah, 300 years after Hijrah, 400 years after Hijrah. I'm going to read it very quick. Abu Uthman al-Sabuni rahimahullah ta'ala said, Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah do not hold that it is permissible to revolt against them, the rulers, even if they see from them abandoning justice and replacing it with tyranny and injury. He said, continuing with these statements, he says, these sentences which I have affirmed, this is Uthman Sabuni, died 400 years after the Prophet's demise. These sentences which I have affirmed in this chapter was the creed of all of them, the scholars of Ahlul Sunnah. None of them differed regarding it with each other, rather agreed by ijma with it all. And Imam Abul Hasan al-Ash'ari, right, which the people have ascribed to, and he has forsaken the misrepresentation of the not seeing Allah in the year after, denying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He has abandoned that and he took the creed of the people of Hadith. And here Imam Abul Hasan al-Ash'ari says, Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah have agreed upon hearing and obeying the rulers of the Muslims. And whoever gains authority over the people in a country, whether with their pleasure or by overpowering, then obedience is given to them, whether they are righteous or sinful. It is not allowed to revolt against them, regardless if they are tyrannical or just. This is Abu Hasan al-Ash'ari, 324 after Hijrah. And then Abu Zur'a Razi and Abu Hatim al-Razi, they came again in the 264 after Hijrah and 277 after Hijrah. Listen to this, subhanAllah, and this is the cream of the crop. He says, we reached the scholars of all the townships of Hijaz, that's Makkah, and all surrounding peninsulas and districts, Iraq, all of it, Sham, all of it, Yemen, and from their beliefs of all these people was, we do not hold it permissible to rebel against the rulers or to fight in times of tribulation. We hear and obey those Allah has placed in authority over us. We do not remove the hand of obedience. We follow the Sunnah and the Jama'ah and avoid opposition, differing and splitting. And the last one is of Shaykh Islam Ibn Taymiyyah. He says, the best and most excellent of the Muslims forbade from rebellion, khuruj, and fighting in times of fitna, as was the stance of Abdullah ibn Umar. You see, the companions of Allah's Messenger, they forbid this. Even though this has occurred, hasala ma hasala, right? That the scholar said, whatever transpired between them, we don't take campaigns, we don't say, this one is right. That was all their legal discretion. They use the ijtihad. That's a person whoever uses legal discretion, trying to come to a conclusion, trying to reach the truth. If he's right, he gets two rewards. If he's wrong, he gets a reward. You know, even if he's right in something, right? Even if he's right in something. Even if he's wrong in something, we don't follow him in his error. And this is exactly what Shaykh Islam Ibn Taymiyyah says. He says, the stance of Abdullah ibn Umar, Sa'id ibn Musayyib, Ali ibn Ali al-Hussein, and other than them, they prohibited the people of Medina in the year of Harra. It's at the time when they rebelled against Yazid ibn Muawiyah. Just as Al-Hasan al-Basri, Mujahid and others prohibited revolt during the fitna of Ibn Ash'ath, who rose against Al-Hajjaj. Hajjaj was the oppressive ruler in the time of Anas ibn Malik, right? And there was a group or party that basically overpowered Al-Hajjaj. They basically rebelled against him. And Hassan al-Basri was of the view that this is prohibited. They're going against the commands of Allah's Messenger. Even though they did that, there was Tayibah that rebuked them. So we don't follow the errors of their legal discretion, why they did what they did. We're not commanded with that. We're commanded to hear and obey Allah's Messenger and his companions. And then he says, so based upon this, the affair of Ahlul Sunnah was established and settled upon abandonment of fighting in times of fitna due to authentic and firmly established hadith reported from the Prophet. So Ahlul Sunnah started to mention these narrations in the Aqidah, the Creed, and they commanded with patience in the face of the tyranny of the rulers and do not fight them. This came about even though a large number of people of knowledge and religion before this had fought during fitna. So what Ibn Taymiyyah is trying to say is, again, we emphasize this and we reinforce that there were a party of the companions that did that upon their legal discretion. They thought at that time, this is the best possible outcome. And they erred. We say they erred. No matter how righteous they are, they went against the commandments of Allah. They interpreted it in that way. And then thereafter, there's a beautiful statement here of one of the scholars. He says, Ijma takes a ruling of knowledge absolutely. It carries the same position as the revealed text. Just as it is not allowed to leave off acting upon the revealed text based upon an opinion that opposes them. Likewise, it is not permitted to oppose the Ijma with an opinion that opposes after the Ijma has been established upon its evidence. So then Adhabi basically made annotation to this. He says, then the Ijma was established after the Sahaba differed. Whatever occurred, Hasana Mahsana, that transpired after that, the Tabi'in and Ba'al Tabi'in, they came agreement and they documented. They saw what was derived from that happenings and that events, the advent of Hussein and stuff like that, and Al-Ash'ath and Hajjaj, and they documented in the books. This is our creed. We don't rebel due to the bloodshed and spilling and anarchy and chaos. And they mentioned it that all the people of Hadith are unanimous, ijma upon that. So if you come today and you say no, rebellion is permissible, and you bring statements, haphazard statements from Bidayah wa Nihaya and Ibn Asakir and all historian books, then we say no, we don't follow you. Did the companions of Allah's Messenger understand those narrations to mean like that? With the Tabi'in, we say no, you're upon an erroneous understanding. This is not patchwork. And if you have any problems and issues, then farudhu ila Allah wa Rasul, turn back to Allah and His Messenger. Prophet's demise, go back to the scholars, the likes of, whether they like it or not, Sheikh Rabi, Sheikh Shaykh Muhammad ibn Hadi al-Madkhali, refer to the ulama. Shaykh Sulaiman al-Khayli, refer to the documented works of Shaykh Uthaymeen, Shaykh bin Baz. It's filled, replete against rebellion. These people want to ascribe to these things, They want to ascribe to the da'wah to Salafiyah. They want to ascribe to this in the creed, abandonment of innovations, subduing the people innovations. When you speak about this is part of our creed. They become startled. They get riled up, and you would devil with him. You say, no, look, follow this methodology. This is in the books. Like you took your creed, like how you derive your methodology and standpoint to subdue the people innovation. And that's the description. And you did that. This is also our description. One of the Tabi'in, I think it was Harb al-Karamani, said, from the description of people of bid'ah, of innovation, is that they remove their hand from allegiance to the ruler. And they revolt. That is the description of the people of bid'ah. For us who ascribe to Ahlul Sunnah, don't say, no, this is just mere gestures, this is just, just sayings and that. We need to be cautious, we need to be vigilant. We don't need to be ascribed to that, you know what I mean? Imagine someone says to me, you revolt, don't listen to him, he's someone of Ahlul Bid'ah, Abdul Kareem Ahlul Bid'ah. No one will ever sit with me. This chaos, this anarchy. Why? Because I don't hold the correct creed. And again, with all our classes, we always say, we call to the people upon basira, upon knowledge, upon courtesy, upon guidance. We're kind and polite, and we refrain from, reviling people and abusive remarks and stuff like that. We try to wish good for you, to establish your well-being, and we're keen for that. So these people that upon, this deviance, we say, no, man, leave that. Leave this stupidity of yours, man. You're going to get nowhere. And may Allah give us guidance, to, fulfill His rights in terms of what He's commanded us with. Staying away from foolishness and, incorrect understandings. Is there any questions that the brothers have?
So what if the ruler is kuffar?
With regards to that, I'm not ahl for that. I'm not in a position for that, Wasim. Inshallah, I can get you a fatwa of all the major scholars and I will relate over to you. Okay. Subhanallah, alhamdulillah, ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta.